Hello, 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 and welcome to another RANGROO unit of the week. Today we are looking at the Polish Komadosi, which means commando in Polish. In terms of historical facts, I couldn't find much about these guys or the Komadosi unit on Wikipedia. I'm just gonna guess a bunch of Polish commandos, but I did manage to find, yes, a Polish board game called Komadosi. And as you can see, the front cover is absolutely badass and it completely describes Unit in a nutshell. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Hind all in one infantry in it, because that's what these guys are. In game mode, these guys are a 35-point Catsi unit that can only be used in two types of deck, Air Assault and Paratrooper. It can come in an awful lot of transport, such as the Scott 2 series trucks, MI2, MI8, and even Hind. So if we take a look at its weapons, the first weapon the Komadosis use is the AK-74SU, a carbine version of the AK-74. It's a pretty standard main infantry assault rifle carbine weapon. They're pretty good with it because the Komadosis are commandos, so they have great accuracy, good HP power. It's very bog standard, to be honest, for a assault rifle. Now the second weapon we have is our RPG. The RPG 16D is pretty bloody good. The only other unit that uses the RPG 16D are the VDVs, Russian paratroopers. So this is kind of a awesome RPG, as you can see. It has a range of ground 875 meters, where most other RPGs only have like 500 odd meters of range. These guys have the extra boost, meaning they can touch tanks from quite a distant array. They're very accurate. It's an RPG with a trove accuracy stat, meaning they're gonna be hitting an awful lot. Good AP power of 15, that's pretty good for an RPG. It does have heat rockets, so it always do damage. A decent suppression, and they fire it quite fast at 10 rounds a minute, while most other RPGs fire slightly slower. And also, these guys carry 8 of these RPG rockets, which is an awful lot. Most other units only really being able to carry like 6 or 4, so they can carry a lot more rockets and deal a lot more damage to all the other enemy tanks. The last weapon we have is the RPK. This is a CQC machine gun, meaning it can be fired while on the move. Has an okay range of ground of 875. It's not as far as some other machine guns, but it does get the job done. It has a pretty good accuracy. It's a pretty standard machine gun as well. With these infantry weapons, there's not really too much to talk about, like the assault rifle machine gunners. They're all pretty much the same in the big grand scheme of things. And yeah, that's the RPK. If we take a look at its Miscellaneous stats, these guys come in a 15-man squad, which is an awful lot. This is quite good, meaning that they can survive a helicopter crash if their helicopter does get shot down, and they're going to have a lot more HP than a normal infantry squad that only has 10 guys in it. Size very small, like every single other infantry in it. They have good optics, meaning that these guys can be used as recon, and they do a very good job as acting as recon, because also they go quite fast at 27 kilometers an hour, which is pretty good for infantry, or infantry of this size. You do have a few other recon infantry, like the smaller 5-man squads that can go 33 kilometers an hour. But that isn't too much of an issue. And all other stats, stealth, they don't use fuel because these guys are infantry, they eat to get fuel. And yeah, that's the Miscellaneous stats in game. These guys are a jack of all trades. They can really do anything, to be honest. They can ambush tanks while in a forest or in a town because they have the extra range of the RPG-16. And that RPG shoots fast and it does lots of damage. They will absolutely wreck infantry because they're very good to their assault rifle and machine gun. And there's 15 of them. They can have the HP to take the damage, and they can deal out the damage with the weapons that they have. Like, they will knock out like a four squad rifleman squad with just 2 Komadosi squad. These guys are brilliant at that. They're also great at scouting because they have the good optics. You can move them around forests, spot the enemy artillery or the CV. Heck, you can even just blow it up itself with the RPG-16. It has so much range. These guys should do all the work. you can use them as frontline shock infantry. I used to like using these guys as my guys to get into the town first. I get them in like an MI2, fly them in the town, unload. If the MI2 gets shot down, they're gonna live. And heck, even two of these guys will do quite a bit of damage. And yeah, that's really the Komadosi unit. They're just a bunch of kick-ass commandos. If you've ever seen that movie Commando, that's what these units are. And yeah, this has been RANGROO's Unit of the Week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.